Hey Eurovision fans, Iolanda will represent Portugal in Eurovision 2024 with her song Grito. I'm going to listen and react to the national final performance and give you my analysis of the song and the lyrics and what potential staging she might have in Sweden. Then we'll look at Portugal's place in the contest by looking at their 10-year record and their qualification record. And finally, we'll talk about whether this can qualify and what it could do if it makes the Eurovision final. So let's keep it. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Tom. I'm an Irish Eurovision analyst, and you can find all of this stuff on my Eurovision channel. So huge apologies to everyone that I was not able to do my Festival da Canção video this year. I was genuinely very upset that I couldn't do it. It's traditionally the last national final that I do every season. I'll be honest with you, I just got completely burnt out. This national final season, I took on too much. The copyright was just sucked up so much of my motivation and my morale. I just kind of had enough. I was just burnt out. I'm going to come up with a new strategy next season so the same thing doesn't happen again. So I've actually never heard this song before. I've seen a couple of people talking about it on Twitter. I get the impression it's like a slower ballad or something. And I've seen that there's some white staging, but other than that, I have no information whatsoever. I didn't watch the Festival da Canção final because I wanted to keep this reaction a first reaction. I do know that Grito means scream. Well, I assume it does because in Spanish, gritar means scream or shout. So I'm guessing it's going to be similar. This video has both visual and audio copyright on it, so I'm going to have to obscure the image and distort the audio a little bit. If you want to see the original, I'll put that up on my Patreon. I will remove as little as possible. Okay, this is Iolanda singing Grito. Want to know my secret bang? Come on, Portugal. Let's see what you got. Oh. Very pretty beginning. It's like completely a cappella. And she's like quite darkly lit as well, so it's a little bit mysterious. Oh, that lighting is beautiful. Really does seem like she's singing in a church. Very, very, very lovely. Her voice is very smooth as well. I like the way she's holding the mic in a peculiar way as well. Oh, wow. Oh, their costuming is gorgeous. Oh, wow. Really, really, really pretty. Look at these artistic tableaus they're making. Wow. All their different heights and sizes as well. I love the dancers, the variation. I'm getting the emotion, the turmoil through the dancers. Oh, that's so lovely. That's got a real timeless quality to it. So pretty. Oh wow, I'm getting a real ancient feel from this. I really like what the dancers are doing. They're really elevating for me. And that soft electronica was reminding me of Televote a bit. She's got great command. Voice sounds great, great posture. The song really feels like it's moving along as well. We're not like staying with a boring pattern. We're getting the violins coming in, this drama. Those dancers are so useful. This is really clever staging. That is so freaking pretty. I love that sound in the background. It sounds like I'm journeying across the sea. So gorgeous. Oh, breakdown. This feels delicate, elegant. Ooh. Ooh, damn, that big note with that screen coming in on her. Is that the Grito? Yeah, this has got such a strong point of view. It's very focused. Ooh. And then ending as we finish with a close-up of her face. Wow, I thought that was really, really striking. Okay, let's get my first impressions. I don't know how to describe it, but that type of, it sounded like a small plucky guitar. The main melody that was in the chorus really reminds me of kind of olden times, how I imagine voyagers would travel around in the 14th, 15th century, kind of like walking through the countryside, going through the Silk Roads. That's just the music that evokes in me. So I got this kind of like medieval historical feel from it, but then we also had that modern production which reminded me of Conan O'Sire's Televote. So it was like this nice mix of more ancient sounds and more modern sounds. Just a really soft, beautiful breeziness. This is one of the things I really like about Festival Canção is there's this lightness in a lot of the songs. They feel really not overproduced. There's not like 500 things going on. It's a bit more measured, and the doses are a little bit more precise in how much production's put in. Really light and breezy. Her vocals were fantastic. I thought the staging was so clever, because already now this is like a ballad. I'm thinking, how's this going to do with the televote, which I'll talk about later on. But just those dances were really great. Their costumes were mysterious, mystical. Their faces were covered. They were all different heights. They were making these different tableaus. They were just giving it a little bit of extra energy and visual distraction. So anyone who might be like, okay, I'm not massively in the mood for the ballad, or maybe just like tempted to walk away because they don't like slower music, I think the dancers are just going to keep their intrigue for a little bit more. Definitely downloading that. That's totally the type of song that I would love to listen to. And it feels super Portuguese, but it doesn't feel like derivative to anything else. Like I felt a small overlap with Conan Osiris and also with Maro, Saturday, but it's not like, you know, I can hear that they're related, as opposed to it's just like a copy. Thought she was great for the whole thing. I liked how her mannerisms seemed to be evoking something. I don't know what the symbolism was, but she had great posture throughout the song. She had that beautiful long note, which I'm guessing was the scream, or I'm not sure if it's like the scream is in what's that German artist who did the scream? Or not German, Norwegian. Edvard Munch. Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's like a reference to that. Let's look up the lyrics now, and then I'll go in for my second listen. Let's go. I'm going to Eurovision World for the lyrics. I heard, I felt the body charging. We continued like this, one and the other. I am a free fall. I'll warn you when I get there. I surrender here little by little. Very poetic, very ambiguous. It is kind of hard to pick out specifically what she's talking about there. Big steps stuck in the starting line. I want to let go of what left me wounded. I asked the Mother Star to make the day rise anew. Oh, Mother Star, that was the same star that Theodore was singing about in Romanda. I want to let go of what left me wounded. Okay, so I think that's a pretty significant line. Let go of things that you know are damaging to you. I transformed every verse of myself and surrendered to the courage that still burns, still burns. The light beats in the chest and opens it. I am a flame that still burns. So talking about her perseverance after some sort of trouble or pain, struggle that she went through. Today I want to prove to myself that I can be whatever I want. Gather those who love me at a table. Forgive those who wanted to see me suffer. They don't fool me, no. I'm the biggest. I still remember when I was small and dreamt first. Okay, so there's a lot of self-reflection here. She's talking about, it's an autobiographical story, talking a bit about self-improvement, forgiving those who've wronged you, cherishing those around you who you love. Okay, and the next verse, I transformed every verse of myself and surrendered to the courage that still burns, still burns. The light beats in the chest and opens it. I am a flame that still burns. Yeah, it's lovely. It's very poetic, very vulnerable and personal lyrics, just singing about her own experience. There's an element here of personal growth, forgiving people, moving on, trying to make the most of who you are. Yeah, it's nice. It's got a bit of ambiguity to it, so I do feel like you can infer your own meaning in if you want to. Now, keep in mind, these are translated lyrics, and of course, I'm always going to miss stuff. If you have another interpretation, please do let me know. These are just my first impressions of the lyrics. I literally just read them for the first time there. So, okay, with that in mind, let me go in for a little bit of a second listen. Gosh, that's absolutely divine. That is a really, really, really beautiful entry. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the staging there. So I think there's a lot of really good ideas. I think they could almost, I feel like they're 90% there. I love the white color palette, really pretty. I am getting a couple of slight religious undertones in the white, in the lighting, particularly at the start. These like light beams, they look like light beams coming down from a church or maybe a stained glass window. I don't mind that because I don't feel like it's overtly Jesus. It's more just like a slight nod. And I do love some of the dappling light work that goes on, particularly towards the start of the song. You see these lights going on and off, almost like raindrops. I really like what she's wearing. I like the outfits for the dancers as well, the way their faces are covered so that the focus is more still on her. You can see their faces, so she's kind of the dancers are more representing her emotions and the feelings that she has, as opposed to distracting from her as the central focus of the song. So I think that's really cool as well. And again, those veils are giving me a slight religious thing as well. Lighting wise, I think this is one of the best lightings that I've seen for an entry. It's so clever how they've used different types of lighting as well. Yeah, I think majority of that staging could be transposed from Festival Canção onto Mama. I wonder if they need to make a couple of changes. Last year with Mimi Cat, there was a lot of trouble actually. I know that they tried to get some LEDs, but there was a problem with them. They couldn't use them. So they end up having even more simple staging than Festival Canção. I know that there were some problems behind the scenes with that. So hopefully they can like work things out a little bit better. They didn't actually use the LED that much, which felt like a choice. It was mostly just kind of like whites and blacks that came up. But I wonder, is that something that I could utilize a little bit more? They do need to be conscious of the fact that it is a ballad, slower song. Now, I really resonated with a lot of the sounds in it. Like I said, I was thinking of Televote, I was thinking of this weird ancient traveling thing that it evokes in me. But if it doesn't evoke anything in other people, they need to do some sort of other entertainment to keep people there as long as possible. I don't know, having something on the LEDs, there's been a quite conscious decision to not have any color here. I wonder, is that something they might consider? Putting in a pop of color at the end, particularly with the scream that comes towards the end, would they maybe put in a pop of red, but something that contrasts against the black and white? So maybe a green, or maybe a more unexpected color. An orange or a yellow or something, just to give that little bit of a breakup from the color palette. But I think there's a huge elegance here. It looks very artistic and theatrical. I feel like it's really different from many of the songs in terms of the visual presentation. This is in the first semi-final. I'm getting ahead of myself, but yeah, this is up against Ramonda, which is darker, and then we've got Ukraine, which is darker. So I think staying with that white color palette's clever because it just keeps that unique feel for Portugal. Yeah, staging wise, I don't really associate Portugal with elevating massively. They tend to go for this really stripped back minimalist feel, which I like because that is kind of their identity in Eurovision. So I would imagine this staging is largely going to stay the same. I would just like to see a couple of clever tweaks to be conscious of the people who are less used to this Portuguese sound. It's something new for them. Maybe they are not going to be as instantly enamored. What can we do to try and keep people watching as long as possible? The opening sequence is really great because it is very mysterious. We have this poorly lit Iolanda, and then we have there's two quick cuts that come up. So I think that it's going to grab people's attention at the start, but then how are you going to keep it in the middle all the way up to the screen? So they just need to show a couple of strategic decision making here. Before we talk about how this is going to do, let's talk about Portugal in the contest by looking at their 10-year record. So Portugal are ranked 24th out of 44 countries in the last 10 years. And you can see they took a gap in 2013, came back with 2 non-qualifications, another gap in 2016, and then came back with that revamped Festival da Canção and their first ever win. I believe they have the record for the longest wait for a first win. We have some countries who are still waiting, but countries who have actually eventually gotten it, I think they're first. And yeah, I really felt like that shake things up. And in the last 6 years, I feel like Portugal have this really strong, fantastic identity. I feel like they do their own thing. We get to see this really interesting part of the Portuguese music scene. I'm aware that it is a small part of the Portuguese music scene. I feel like RTP are a little bit exclusive. A lot of Portuguese people telling me in my Festival da Canção videos that there's a lot of invitations and there's kind of a lot of exclusions. So there is a quite typical sound that is in Festival da Canção and with their entries. But I like that. I feel like Portugal's got one of the strongest identities in the competition. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Like, they came first. Maro came 9th in 2022. Love Is On My Side coming 12th. So largely this new strategy has worked extremely well. And I feel like Portugal's really maintained their integrity. No one can say that Portugal has lost or caving to pressure to conform to the things. They really do their own thing. So will this qualify? I don't know, actually. I hope it does, but I don't know if it's a definite yet. This is in the second half of the first semi-final, which we know is quite difficult. We've got 15 countries. There are 3 or 4 countries who I feel like definitely kind of on the weaker side. So it feels like there might be 12 countries kind of fighting for 10 places in semi-final number 1. And definitely Portugal is going to be one of them. Looking at other people in the semi who cross over with them, this fucking chair. One of them is Ukraine, definitely with that like somber mood and the slight religious feel as well. Now they've got the darker color palettes and they've got the rap. But yeah, there's a little bit of an overlap here. They're quite far apart. Ukraine might come quite early and Portugal might be late. So there might be enough of a distance that Iolanda gets the last word. I hope I'm saying her name right, by the way. It's Iolanda or Iolanda, I don't know. And then also Serbia as well. Also in the first half, I think there needs to be a bit of a differentiation here. I think there's quite a significant overlap, especially if Serbia decides to bring dancers, which I don't think they're going to do. I think Serbia's going to be her on her own. But the dancers really could be something that helps her stand out. I feel like Serbia's got a little bit more of a visual moment with the Ramonda flower coming out of the rock at the end and with these bits of purple popping up earlier in the song. And I don't know if we have as much. We have the dancers who are kind of doing a lot of work, but no like one key moment, because the dancers are introduced quite early and they're there for the whole song. So there's not like one particular thing they do that can be like a recap moment. I suppose maybe the focus of that is the scream. I still just think even that pop of color or some visual cue or accompaniment to the scream can just give it a little bit extra something. They need to make themselves stand out. There's 3 ballads. Slovenia as well is kind of like a semi-ballad, but it kind of builds up. So, you know, realistically, are all 4 of those kind of more ballady songs going to get through? I think realistically, there's going to be at least 1 casualty. So I feel like at this point in time, there's maybe a little bit of a mini battle between Iolanda, Raven and Theodora. They kind of got to look at each other with a little bit of a disdainful eye and like, what are they doing? How do we up them 1? Because I feel like all 3 songs are really strong. Like I'm saying, I'm putting Ukraine through. I think Ukraine are going to qualify. But of those other 3, they've all got really good strongs. They've all got similar moods. They're all female artists. What do they do to win that mini little triangle battle? And it might be 2 go through, maybe all 3 will go through, but you know, all 4 of the ballad songs going through in a televote only semi-final, it's possible. There's only 15 countries, so you know, 66% of the countries are going through, and I think there's like 2 or 3 songs that really don't have much of a chance at all. But there's definitely a market for this Portuguese feel. Like they've done pretty well in televote for a while now, so look, maybe they're just best to sticking to what they do and keeping their identity. How does do the televote look? I don't know if it's going to do great with the televote. I definitely think it can get a decent televote in the semi-final, but when we get through to the final and then it's up against things in semi-final 2, like all these kind of televote big hitters, I think that it's going to suffer a little bit more. So I could potentially see this getting a similar televote score to Maro Saturday. She was 3rd in the running order though, which was very unfortunate. Jury-wise though, I think the jury's going to absolutely love this. This is very elegant, extremely well sung. My God, I forgot to say earlier, she doesn't miss a single note. She sang so clean throughout the whole thing. Very similar to Mimikat, who was incredible as well. So definitely, I think this can get some big jury points. It's got theatrics, it's got artistry in the choreography, the styling, everything about it looks really cleverly and expertly put together. So I think the jury will really like this. Definitely has the potential to get into the top 10 in the jury. You know, if they can just get past that first hurdle of the semi-finals, I think they'll be pretty good getting into once they get into the final. Do I think this can win? No, I don't think this can win. I think that if we're looking at slower ballady songs that have a little bit more of an impact, I think there are just others that are stronger. So Portugal would need to demonstrate that they can kind of beat all those first. And then it's like, okay, now you've passed the first round. Now can you beat everybody else as well? You really have to be the top 2 of the televote to win. I just don't see how that song could be top 2 of the televote. So I don't think it can win, but once the odds, example, for the jury winner come out, I think this can be a contender. I think this could be something good to bet on for the top 10 odds, because if it gets a really strong jury score and then it gets drawn in the second half of the final, I think you'll get an okay televote, and that together can give it 10th place. So with that in mind, let's see, where's this in the odds? And it currently is 30th. So yeah, I agree with that. I just don't know how you answer that televote question. Okay, and how's this doing with the community? So I've seen a lot of love for this song. I believe it was number 1 in the Festival Kansai rankings. This was very far ahead in the community rankings for Festival Kansai. So very, very popular winner. In the community, this is sitting at 25th out of 37. Yeah, possibly a little bit low, but with these rankings aren't fully updated because Azerbaijan just joined. Yeah, you know, up-tempo songs tend to do a little bit better in the Eurovision app as well. I remember Love Is On My Side didn't do well on the app and managed to come 12th in the final. So, you know, the app isn't completely indicative. But I think overall, the reaction to the song has been pretty positive. I think people respect it. Some people love it. So that's really great. And again, Portugal maintaining their really strong identity, not compromising, showing off their culture in a really beautiful way. Again, that's what I thought about Iolanda singing Grito. What did you think? Leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Thank you to all these people who've been supporting me on Buy Me Coffee, PayPal, and Super Thank. If you want to support the channel, I'll leave links to you in the description down below. I am a full-time content creator. And of course, thank you to my Patreons for patronizing me from all over the world. On my Patreon, you can get the original audio and visuals when I get copyrighted, for example, like in videos like this. You can also get some updates on the channel, some early releases, and you can be part of our My Eurovision Scoreboard group. But of course, thank you so much just for watching, and maybe leaving a like, and maybe sharing the video. And thanks so much for watching, and see you in another Eurovision analysis video very soon. Goodbye. Blah, 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 blah.